Okay, so as you can see, this is the front part of the ship that I just finished completing, gluing together. I don't want to waste my time just showing each part that's being glued on, but I just want to show how delicate this kit is, specifically here in the front part. The ridiculous as it may look, it is required, and you gotta really align them up properly. There's actually a little wedge in the little slot, so when you put it in, and you have to push it in real good, and it'll stick into place. I put a little glue on just so it could, harden along the edges. You may be inclined to use your nail to push it in, and it may leave an impression. So if you have a file, just file it down a bit. But make sure once you do that later, because right now I had to position it properly so it's aligned up evenly, as you can see there. I did that for this first and this one second, which is very, very delicate, so be careful. Be careful. It's a little wobbly, a little movable like that, and I can foresee that this part can break off easily. Good detail on the side of the ship, as you can see here. The front, and all this here. Yeah, this is actually really nice. This section here is the part that goes back here, of course. And again, very good detail. And Hasegawa goes extreme lengths to actually cover up or make sure you don't show off the actual parts that have been cut off. With the nippers and all that stuff. Even if you sand it down, you can barely see it, and it covers it up very nicely. As you can see, both of these parts merge together like so. But I'm not gonna glue it just yet. May just want to see how it looks and see what to work with here. Been using, of course, Tamiya's extra thin cement for the smaller parts, while for the thicker parts I was using Mr. Cement Deluxe for the more thicker areas that's doesn't need to be seen. On a side note, I found out that there's photo etch parts for this kit. Was inquiring it to get it, but it was also expensive and out of stock. Not going to worry about that. I'm okay with what I got. So let's continue on and see how the remaining ship will look like. Page 2 covers the mid part of the ship, middle part you could say. This section here has a lot more detail, as you could see. Little cannons right there, and of course you have these massive guns here, or it's not the main gun. The main gun is usually the front part. This is like secondary weaponry. I didn't glue them on, so right now it looks like it's this. I want to wait until it dries before I can sand them down and detail them up a bit. My finger kind of went on that, so I'm going to try to wet sand it or so I can wash it off. Or maybe actually I'll probably do a hefty amount of priming, so that should cover it up. I had to sand these areas here because it's very delicate, but it's still strong. I missed some parts here, so I'm waiting for it to dry. This section here, if I show you this right here, this part is actually being held by a sticky tack. I didn't glue it because this is a separate part where I'm going to have to remove and paint. This one too, which I think that goes like that, but I haven't gone to the next page to see. I have to wait until it dries so I can sand these down with a with my sponge sander right here. And then we have these guys that go right here. One's here, and the other one goes over there like that. I don't want to commit to gluing them together because I want to just get an overall feel of how it looks before I move on to a next portion of the ship, and then I have to decide whether I'm going to do an LED setup or not. So far this is pretty nice, pretty cool. Next part of the build was these little sections of the ship. That this part is basically the part of the chest area when it's in its storm attacker mode. But you're not going to see this because it's going to be facing down like that, with these two side parts here, one being held here and the other one being held here. It's a little loose for some odd reason. I don't know. Clearly this has to be glued on. I'm going to check the manual. Yeah, it is glued on. But one thing that's not glued when I assemble this is this part here, where it bends so you can connect the arms of the armor. And then you have the two cannons here. One bends that way, the other one bends that way, like that. It only goes halfway. It doesn't go all the way. You would assume that it would go all the way, but it's alright. I've never seen these guns fire from the anime. I may have to revisit the movie again, or the anime, sorry. Actually, it's basically the same thing. But again, the detail is really nice, as you can see there. And again, Hasegawa did an excellent job of covering up the seam lines and parts that were nipped off. The one thing, of course, is I had to sand these guys here because there were seam lines there. There's one here, but I had to pull this one out. I haven't started working on it yet, but I'm going to do this slowly so I can cover up that seam line. A little slow like that. There we go. So that should be fine. I'll just review it again later on, and then I'll repass it again. So these parts are going to... Oh, and by the way, like I did with the other part, I did put a poly cap here. Not a poly cap, excuse me. A sticky tack here, as you can see there, so it holds this into place. Just wanted to show it because obviously I'm going to remove it and paint it. And this is going to be a lot of paint work right there. Alright, so the next part will be the legs slash thrusters of the SDF-1. I want to talk about this part here, which is pretty much the most important part of the kit. This is the only tan color part of the kit that you see here. But the side armor parts, as you can see, after it dries, I'm going to sand them down along the leading edges to remove whatever leftover markings. But after you've finished building this, you take this plate that goes right on it, which I didn't glue yet, and then you have these 6 thrusters that goes here. Didn't glue this either because I'm thinking of keeping this separate so I can paint it a different color tone and then glue it on top of this. But then it goes back, going back to my original idea of putting an LED light on this. That's the key of how am I going to figure this out. Give me a moment. Let's move on with the leg so I can show you the whole setup here. The leg itself, or the bottom part of the leg, is made up of 4 parts, as you can see, followed by this frame, which fell off right there. The frame is oriented correctly to where it's supposed to go because it has to have this little box right there, that little hole, so that you can slide this part in here. Sorry, in here. And it looks like that. It's a good railing system right there for it to support for a frame, which of course keeps popping out. There we go. You see? I didn't glue it yet because I wanted to show it to you. And the whole purpose of that is because you do build this part of the mid part of the leg. There's a little notch there for the little one of the cannons that goes under. But you take this part, of course, and you put this. Well, first things first, you have this little thing. This is actually the waist unit. And then taking this part that I made a moment ago, slide this here like so. Then you slide this in like so here, until it goes all the way in. And be careful of the orientation, because I made some mistakes. It has to go like that. You may end up, it may go like up to there, and then you realize, okay, I made a goof there. So, but this is how far it goes. Then you take this one, which is being held by, it's not glued, I'm just holding it in. And then you find the hole, and you slide it in like so. And then you have this, and you slide it like that. This is how it looks, which it looks really nice. So that's pretty much how it would look like. And my big little concern is the LEDs. Wiring is not the issue, because I can actually funnel some wiring through there. As you can see, there's a gap right there, all the way up to here. Then I would now need to find, I think I'm going to have to drill some holes here. I should have never glued this. This was a mistake I did. But I guess I'm going to have to make some holes there, and then holes here, and then maybe shimmy them in there if I can. If not, it's going to have to go right through this structure. As a matter of fact, let me see, can I do that? Gonna be weird though. I could go through here, because you're not going to see the wiring once that's there. And then when it gets to here, it goes there. I guess the wiring can go around in there. Damn it, and I glued all this. Shit. Because I do know for a fact that once this goes here, that's it. It's locked into place. And wait a minute. I didn't even see where the how the fan is placed. Hold on a second. Oh, that's right. There's. Wait a minute, did I just cover this? No, I did. Did I? Okay. Alright, so there's a cover here, which... You're kidding. Is that optional? Oh, that's optional, and I glued it on. Didn't realize that. So this part here is an optional part, which of course you put on if you don't want it to show off. But oh, good, I didn't glue it on. I thought I did. Good. That's good. So this is where the actual connector is for this. This has to be glued on, of course. But then the wires need to funnel through here down to the base. And then, of course, going back to the idea of putting LED lights, that would be, you know, 1, 2, 3 lights here, plus another 3 here. I would have to drill the holes there, but so that way it will show off the lights through the thrusters. I also had something here that I thought would be perfect for this. Let me see if I could find it. I had it in my trays. Let's see. No. Aha. Is this perfect enough? Let's find out. So, if we zoom in here, look at that overall design. Be nice to cut this little hole there, right? But then you're going to lose out the overall effect of this. But I'm thinking of using this. This was the the photo etch parts that I put on the Ifrit. I think these are perfect for this. What do you think of that? So I can drill that off, but then I put that right on it and then bleed off the light through there. So you have to forgive me, I don't have my other 3-watt battery. I'm using these two little, there we go. So I have this light there, and then that forwarding through there goes like that through here. So the intention would be cut the hole, and no, don't cut the edges, glue that right on top of that, put the LED light through there once I drill the holes on all 6. And then my intention was to do a parallel wiring. So positives, negatives, and then use a 12-volt battery that I have, funneling it right through the middle of the ship down to the base. It's a lot of work, a lot of time and effort. I'm actually considering not to do it, but after reviewing this, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give the LED light idea a try first. And if it comes out well, then I'm going to see how I can incorporate it onto the ship. Give me some time, guys. I have to figure this out.